What's going on, y'all? It's Smo Reviews here, back at it again with another video, man. Here to bring you another recap, and this recap, of course, is for Bulletproof. It is officially in the books. Hitman versus Mook has occurred. Nitty versus Calicoe has occurred. The whole card has occurred, and here I am to give you my opinions on the quality, my thoughts on the winners, the losers, where battlers go after this, and all that good stuff. Overall, I'd say this was a solid event, and it started not solid. We're going to get in all the details, but it started awful, to be perfectly honest with you. More on the production side than the rapping side, long intermissions. The undercard had its bright spots, also had its not so bright spots. It's definitely a bit of a flawed experience up until the final two battles, but I had said going into this, there is no better combo of main event and co-main event, maybe throughout the whole year, especially what we've seen so far, than Rum and Cal and Hitman and Mook. They had to do some heavy lifting for this card to be good, and I thought they did some heavy lifting for this card to end on an extremely strong note. So overall, I'll say it now, I'm going to give this event a 7 out of 10. At max, someone could give it maybe 7.5, 8. I'm going to give all my reasons on every battle, every performer, and why I came down to that final score for the event. But with all that being said, let's start with the first battle of the night. So to kick off the night was the surprise battle, which ended up being announced as Loso versus Pass, which is a matchup that I'll tell you right now, I could have went without. I've been saying cards need to be smaller, and I do understand both of these guys were really good on Apollo. Loso versus J2, Pass versus Eunice. So if you're going to give anyone a shot to open the card, take some of those better performers from the last card. But this is a battle that pretty easy to call when it ended up happening, and with the delay that happened after, I'll tell you right now, felt like a little bit of time wasted. So the battle itself, like a few battles on this card, very lopsided, and the first round is the greatest example of it. I felt like Pass never fully found his footing with like the crowd. I think maybe the bigger room was the difference here, because Loso was just not only outwrote him, but his energy and performance was the clearest difference between the two in this battle. Pass in the first two rounds, very joke-heavy, very coming at Loso for being a Christian battler, but on a very shallow note. Like, we see some battlers execute it well, we see some battlers execute it not so well. And this one is definitely on the more not-so-well side. First round of the battle, Loso really just kind of runs him over with pass flips. I mean, it was a clear, dominant 1-0 for Loso early. Second round, Pass has an even worse round than his first. Pass's second is easily the worst round of this battle on either side. And Loso, while he wasn't at the same level as his first, just keeps cruising to an easy victory. So it's a very clear 2-0 before Pass kind of finds his footing in the third. But even then, I gave Loso the third round of the battle. So at the very least, it has to be Loso 2-1 clear. But I had Loso 3-0. And it's another good win for him in a year where he's had like 20 battles. Is this as good as his J2 material, which is his best performance of the year? No. But is this on the higher side of Loso victories and performances this year? Definitely. I'd say this is like a top 5 Loso in 2025. Clear victory over Pass. And it was like a cool battle to set off the night. However, like I mentioned, delay. About a 2-hour delay after this. And shout out Frozen Bros, because they were amazing on the commentary. I thought they did a great job. But even 2 hours of the best commentary is still a 2-hour break. And there was trailers in between. There was just too much time taken up this early in the event. So to have a battle that's kind of not really asked for, right? Not a crazy surprise battle. Then this delay that pushes us back a few hours, knowing UFC is on later, knowing that Canelo versus Crawford is on later. I thought that was a very harsh start for the event. Like, I thought it is a bad way to start with that type of delay on a card of this magnitude. They got it back together after this. But if you see any of my tweets where I'm like, this is a terrible start, what the fuck are we doing? It's because of a 2-hour delay. You just can't be having that for an event of this magnitude. But after you get that out of the way, Loso victory, long intermission, then you get to the main promoted cards. The first battle of that was Official versus Coffee Brown, which is going to have some controversy. But the battle itself, or what we got of it, lopsided. Like I said, there's going to be a few battles like this, and I didn't expect this for this battle. I had Coffee 2-1 edge going in, and it's because I think she's a little bit of a better all-around talent in 2025. She's been doing better things recently. As she said in the face-off and in the battle, she consistently ranks above Official when Wody comes around by a large amount. She's in that big three of her, Jazz, and Hustle, so I thought she'd continue that form here, even if Official was great. But something I did underrate, and I think was the story of this matchup, is just the experience on a stage, which Official has over her, and that showed very evidently in the 2 rounds of this battle we got. So in the first round, Coffee does something that she did when she battled New Jersey Twork, which was her other time on a big stage, and she looked all over the place. Her pace was rough, and she choked. First round of the battle, she chokes, and we're going to talk later about some battlers that choked. People try to say now, and I don't get where this logic came from, it's only choking if you never get it back, which is what Coffee Brown did. I think it's bullshit. I think if you forget your wraps for any period of time, especially if we're getting towards like 7-10 seconds, even if you get it back, you choked. Like, you don't only have to choke for fucking like 5 minutes in awful fashion to still lose a round. That is what Coffee did in the first round, though. She just never got it back. And on the flip side, Official was on 1,000. She was connecting haymakers back to back. Her energy was better. Bar for bar, she was better. Angling, she was better. It was like a death 1-0. Like, this is how a body bag starts kind of 1-0, is the way Official took charge of the battle. You get to the second round, even though Coffee's pace never got back, she just looked rattled throughout the battle. Her second is good. She's landing back-to-back a little bit more. She's hard for her to land, like, haymaker-level stuff because it just never felt like the momentum was fully on her side. But I thought her second was definitely a step back in the right direction. I just think Official was better in the second. This is not as dominant as the first, where I'm like, God damn. But this is simply, Official has more firepower than her right now. So what Official does while winning the second is bring up an angle about Coffee's baby father. We've heard this before, rumors of him being gay, and that's why they don't talk to each other. Apparently, there's some people saying that I believe Coffee's BD might be dead. I don't know if that's 100% true, right? But that has to be brought up because to start off Coffee's third, she rebuttals. She was not happy about the angles that Official took. And so it says something along the lines of, I don't know why you would bring that, you would bring that up, but what if I said something like, fuck your dead-ass mother? Bringing up Official's mother, who died fairly recently, I want to say within the last 6 months as well. So it's in a sense matching disrespect for disrespect. But as I always say in battle rap, you show people what's allowed, or you teach people the way to treat you. Official was not going for it at all, to the point that she immediately, no hesitation, mid-air drops the water bottle and snuffs Coffee. I mean, straight in the face. Left hook followed in a spirit of combat fighting sports last night. There was definitely good form with the straight jab to the hook. But it was a very clean landing. And I mean, we have fights, I don't want to say fairly frequently in battle rap, but we're no stranger to altercations or scuffles. But this was like a real, like, I knew instantly when the punch landed, there would be no more rapping going on. Coffee ends up kind of falling off the stage. Official, as people are memeing, kind of like through the Hulkamania leg drop. Everyone's playing the Arsonal audio, trying to like stomp one more time. It was a fucking mess. So this was a clear 2-0 battle, which ends up in just like a full-on brawl at the end between these two ladies. And I will say shout out to TBL, because this would, at the very least at other events, if not possibly shut down the event, cause a huge delay and intermission and us trying to find out what's happening. The fight kind of came and went. Coffee was even on stage for the very next battle behind TRex, which I thought was kind of hilarious. But it's one of those where, for the raps itself, Official had already won the battle and could have very clearly been on her way to winning all 3 rounds. This was a Coffee who just looked rattled up there. Like, that's the only term that I could use. And then on top of that, when it comes to the fight, there's going to be different opinions. At the end of the day, you never ever want to see, especially in a event of this magnitude, the business behind it, the more important battles to come, it's completely dangerous. That this could have shut down the event. We could be talking in a whole different light about a complete disaster for the culture this morning. But with someone's mother passing recently, yes, it's battle rap. Yes, people hear about their families all the time, hear about all types of crazy shit, but a fresh wound like that, and a bar that's not even like tiptoeing the line, like, what if I disrespected your dad? How would you feel about that? Just fuck your dead ass mother, who is freshly passed away. It's hard for me to be extremely mad at Official in this situation. Like, I could see where some people are not playing about things like that. There's people that are like, I don't care what environment, what's on the line. This is my mother that we're talking about here, and this is a fresh wound for me. So Overall, the fight is the fight. What happened is what happened. But even with 2 rounds, Official clearly won this battle. So I got that prediction wrong, and she had a dominant performance. And Coffee gets maybe her clearest L that I've seen to a woman, a top-tier woman, but especially in recent time, one of the more dominant Ls and just rough optic looks that Coffee Brown has had, which is going to put a massive dent in what's otherwise been another amazing 2025 for her. So after that whole fiasco, the next battle that you get is Av versus TRex, which I thought was just a solid battle for the undercard. Like, I knew it would provide for the card as a whole, even if it's not like a main standout, it would just be quality. And that's exactly what this battle was. This wasn't battle of the night. This was just a quality battle that added to the card. And it starts in the first round of the battle where I had said if Rex is going to have like a standout round, he's either going to end it with a standout third like he did versus Swamp, where even though we have him losing that battle, I really liked his third versus Swamp. Or in more typical T-Rex fashion, he'd have that powerhouse first. Av is kind of susceptible to giving up first rounds, even with this great run that he's been on. And then maybe Av would take control the rest of the battle. And it played out for me exactly like that second scenario. Av has a good first in this battle. Very good first. But it takes a little bit more of a slow cook round. Like, he just tends to heat up and kind of have a feel-out round for the battle. While Rex was explosive, had one of the bars of the night with, I wanted to kill Geechee Gotti so bad I almost killed myself, which is kind of ridiculous when you lay it out like that, but hit like a bomb in the room. Then from there, the Av flips, the drug talk. Like, Rex had a Rex first round. So even though Av was good, Rex was great and was up a clear 1-0. Like, Rex is taking a clear 1-0 lead. Then from there, second round of the battle, Av takes another step up, and we see this all the time with his uphill riding. So now you already had a good Av first that you beat. Now you're facing a great Av round. And I thought Rex's second was really good, something I've given him credit for in the last few years. I thought for years Rex would have one great round, and then he would almost immediately gas out. The second still has quality in it to the point you see some Rex fans trying to argue it for him. I wouldn't go that far. I thought Rex was good in the second, but I thought Av, there was clear enough separation where I felt very comfortable giving Av that second. But it was a good Rex performance up to this point. It was 1-1. Then you get to the third round, and Av does what Av does. The real talk to Rex, the angling of him, kind of, what was it? How is it going to be grown man bars, but you're out here making little boy decisions? I mean, really breaking him down. Something Av doesn't get enough credit for. He did in his third versus Hollow. He did in his third versus Big T. He did in his third versus T-Rex. This is angling and breaking down his opponent, talking directly to them, is a regular part of Av's game now, even as a puncher. So Rex's weakest round was his third. Wasn't a bad round, but Av had taken control of the battle up to this point. So I had said this would be an Av victory with a good T-Rex performance. It would be either 2-1 or 3-0. It played out as a 2-1, but it's exactly what happened. I had Av with the W in the second and the third, but it's no slight to Rex. He did his part to make this battle good as well. So Av continues his streak, but I think Rex gives a more than respectable effort in this battle, having probably the best round of the battle in the first. It's either that or Av's third. Overall, big fan of this one. Av 2-1, second and third. Then from there, you have Arsonal versus Jazz the Rapper. I had said this was a for sure thing, ass whooping. There was nothing I could see Arsonal doing with Jazz the Rapper, and boy, do I look a little bit fucking stupid in this recap. I can't believe what I watched regarding this battle, to be honest. So first round of the battle, Jazz raps. It's not very good. It's not ass, but I didn't think there was too much special in Jazz's first. Always people trying to match. It's Arsonal, so I'm gonna do my own disrespectful thing too. It stinks. It disrespect. Arsonal really doesn't even do flat out disrespect like he used to 10 years ago. So you're trying to match a title of his that he doesn't even use quite as much as he used to. And it's because people don't really like just straightforward disrespect anymore. There has to be some creativity to it. It can't just be, you're a bitch and your mom this. Like, it's so shallow. And I thought Jazz fell for the trap like so many do. And then Arsa's first is kind of fucking cracked. Like, Arsa's best round of the battle by far is the first round of this battle. So Jazz is weak in the first. And Ars did have a bar. Why would you take a bitch that might could be Jordan, Michael B. Jordan, might could be Jordan, and give her to a sitter. That's ass. I had to just point that out because that bar made me like physically ill. But the rest of Arsonal's first, he's going crazy. The clean paper bar was fire. I mean, he just broke Jazz down, outperformed her, out-rapped her. So the first, it's Arsonal 1-0 clear. What the fuck? You get to the second round of the battle. Some people are calling this one close. And I think Arsonal had the room's momentum. So if you're looking maybe at like crowd reaction, it's close. Content-wise, this was the separation I was expecting. Jazz rapped way better than Arsonal in the second. The material's more tailored. There's more wittiness to it. Arsenal's kind of just rapping in the second. Like, it's not all that direct. It's not all that damaging. He raps extremely good. His rapping ability is good, so people are reacting to how it sounds, but he's not really saying anything in the second. That's just what it is. So I had Jazz winning the second round of this battle. Some people still had it close. I just didn't see it that way, so I had it 1-1 going into the third. And the third, neither are good. Neither are good in the third round. So at the very least, you'd be walking into a debatable type of a debatable result here. But Jazz chokes in her third round. And this is what I was talking about earlier with Coffee. People telling me, oh, what Coffee did is a choke. What Jazz did is not a choke. Jazz, in the middle of her bar, forgets where she is. Forgets where she is and stops rapping for about 7 to 10 seconds. I know Jazz fans like, it was 3 seconds. It was a little bit longer than that. And paces around and finds her raps, gets back to rapping. It's not like all day that she was choking. But she forgot her place, stopped rapping, walked in a fucking circle twice, and then got her raps back. If that's not a choke, I don't know what is, guys. So Jazz probably had, even though not a crazy third, she had better material than Arsonal in the third round. I thought Arsonal kind of mailed it in the third as well. But she was more clean. And I know Ars at the end of his third, it looked like he was going to choke too. He pivoted really quick into this like Quest McCody freestyle. Some will say it's a fake choke. Some will say he freestyled his way out of it. But he freestyled at the very least. He covered it up if he did indeed forget his rhymes, while Jazz was just walking in a circle. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those where I'm not overly happy to do this. It's not like he rapped better and he clearly got it. But I gotta be fair. I gotta give Arsonal the third round of the battle. So a battle that I thought was for sure on its way to body of the night. If there was any lock for, like pick where I'm like, someone is definitely gonna win, I would have picked Jazz versus Arsonal. In an upset fashion, in a battle that people will now use the same way they use, remember, what if it's the Arsonal Chodo versus Geechee or Twork? They will now add the Jazz battle to that lineup because I had Arsonal 2-1 over Jazz the Rapper, first and third. Probably the most unexpected result for me. I'll tell you, I did not like this battle either, like after the fact. There was some people, I saw even Froze maybe saying, oh, does Arsonal have performance of the night so far? When that was said, that told me how little greatness we had seen up to that point in the night, that performance was considered the best of the night. But you got to give credit for all the inconsistencies that he does have. Arsonal did show up, especially early for this battle, and one way or another walked out with the W versus one of the best in the world right now. So Arsonal beating Jazz, to me, extremely shocking result. Next battle up is Hollow Dadan versus Swamp. This will be the quickest I have to talk about any of the battles. It was Swamp 3-0, and this was definitely not the highlight of the night. Right there with Jazz and Arsonal, either of these would be like the worst battle of the night, but I will say the one thing that saves it a bit is Swamp's third is one of the best rounds I've ever fucking heard Swamp rap. Super life substance rap, real talk rap. Reminds me a lot of his third round versus Chef Trez. So if you love when Swamp gets in that bag, his third is like the story of the battle, because otherwise it's just not that good of a battle. Swamp was, and it's really closer to a body bag 3-0 than it is a gentlemanly 3-0. Hollow is not good in this battle whatsoever. He's not good in the first. He's very bad in the second. He quits in the third. And that's something that's becoming just kind of a thing now. Hollow quit midway through his third in the DNA battle. Hollow quit midway through his third in the Rum Nitty battle. Hollow just quit midway through his third in his last battle versus Chef Trez because the crowd wasn't fucking with him. And then he saw tonight that the crowd once again wasn't fucking with him, did not like the performance, and he quits halfway through his third versus Swamp. He's been ending rounds with anything for years. This is now the fourth or fifth battle that we've seen that he quits through the third when he's not liking the reception he's getting. And it just goes to show you, we'll always have the prime, that all-time level best battler in the world type of candidate that Hollow was. We are so far removed from that, and we are looking at pretty much the end of Hollow Dodon. I mean, he just doesn't have anything to give up there. There's some people that were saying, oh, he was loopy, the bars are going over the head in the first and the second. Stop challenging our intelligence. This just isn't good shit. The jokes aren't going to cut it. The angling isn't all there. The energy for sure isn't there compared to a Hollow that's locked in. He's just not competing at a high level anymore. So even though Swamp wasn't all that great in the first and second either, he wasn't, setting the house on fire. And it just goes to show it wasn't that great of a battle until Swamp's third. But he still was just doing better. He was giving more effort. He was attacking his opponent. So Swamp clear in the first and second and third. Nothing to debate. Far from performance of the night, but he walks away with a highlight round and a W over Hollow Dodon in pretty much what's the last chapter of his career. Then we get to main event and co-main event, right? I told you that this event ended strong. And I had bold claims about Rum Nitty versus Calicoe going into it. I said it would for sure be battle of the night. I said it would be a classic, and I said it would be the definition of a preference battle with two guys using different styles to the highest level. I shot 2 for 3 with that. It was definitely battle of the night. It was absolutely a preference battle, but for me, it did not get all the way to the title of classic. I do think it's probably on my short list for the 10 best battles I've seen in 2025. And it started fantastic as well. So you start with the first round. Cal and Nitty were so good in the first round of this battle and so good at two completely different things. I think when it comes to just pure rapping, like the way people sound when they're rapping, Calicoe is number one. There is no one that I would rather hear flow in the game than Calicoe. And you add the fact that he's using Life Substance very early, setting that theme of metaphors versus real rap, because while that is Calicoe's slogan, that truly is this matchup personified. It's the best bar for bar guy versus the best kind of talk to your soul type of guy. And I thought Cal's first was great. I think he's more of an example of what unorthodox is, where he's not really punching in there. There's just kind of like life shit that when it hits you, it hits you. It's not necessarily mentioning Nitty directly, but it shows the difference between their styles and the superpowers of it. I love Calicoe's first round in this battle, and I'm not mad at anyone that edges Cal the first because I think it's preferential. Nitty goes in the first. The first half of his first is good. But Cal's first was great, so I'm listening and I'm like, this is good. It's good momentum, but you're going to need great. You're going to need a few haymakers at some point to kind of match what Cal's doing, because the power in what Nitty does is having those bars that you're like, fuck, and blow up the room on the spot. And then he lands one of those with the Liam Neeson bar where he's kind of angling Cal for saying, you called your daughter fine? Like, what's up with that? Fine, your daughter, like Liam Neeson. I thought that landed crazy, and then from there, his second half of his first is great and starts to match that greatness you saw from Cal's first. So if you prefer the more talk to your soul, the better rapping ability and smoothness of Cal's first, I'm totally understandable of anyone giving Cal the first in this battle. But for me, I thought Nitty ended on a bit of a higher note with some of just the more standout bars of the round, which is how he wins rounds. You get to the end and you're like, damn, the best 2 to 3 bars of the round probably came from Rum Nitty, right? Like he needs that to match something like what Cal did in the first. So for me, extremely debatable. I edged Nitty the first round of the battle and had him up 1-0. You get to the second round, Cal only takes another step up, and it reminds me of his second versus Swamp. He's flowing. The wordplay and haymakers are there too. Even the way he started, the bird was too heavy to fly with us, so it's swimming. Just the way he led into that. The performance is laid back too. It's Cal at his absolute best in the second round. And Nitty has a very good second too. He starts angling Cal. Little bit of his own real life talk as well, saying how CPS was there when he was a kid. And he would tell them people for the sake of his mother that he definitely ate when he know he didn't. And, it's a side of Nitty you don't get to see often. But, of course, for the Calicoe matchup, he's going to bring that out a little bit more, right? Like reflecting on his life a bit. I love Nitty's second. Cal was just up there. So I still think it's a close round, but I was comfortable giving Cal that round. I had it 1-1 going into the third. And for me, what holds this back from being the battle's fullest potential, heading to classic counting like I predicted, is Cal just really doesn't have a good third round of the battle. He stumbles early, not a choke. I mean, literally slipped on a word and got back to it within 2 seconds. That's a stumble. Oh, I mixed up my words. I'm rapping again. Not, let me walk around for 7 seconds and figure it out. But Cal never got his pace back for real. Like, he was rapping, but it became extremely indirect. The rapping ability wasn't as smooth as the first two because he just wasn't as locked in. It's like he was remembering the bars as he went. So Cal's third, it's not complete ass, but in comparison to all the greatness these two showed, it's a starch difference from the rest of the battle. And Nitty, who usually has his weakest round in the third. I'm like, oh, he'll get away with one because his third will be weak, but Cal's third wasn't his best either. Well, Nitty's third is his best round of the battle. The Wizard Kelly bar was crazy. The Cal flips to end the battle. The landslide flips. He had some BMF flips in the second that were really good too. But Nitty ends on his strongest note and to me gets the clearest round of the battle in the third. So anyone that has it, Cal, first and second, I'm not mad at all. Like, this is a extremely debatable battle, a very, very good battle as well. And like I said, clearly the battle of the night. They should both be happy with their performance. But for me personally, I edged Nitty that first. The second's debatable, but obviously I gave it to Calicoe. And then in the clearest and deciding round of the battle, to me, Rum Nitty very clearly gets the third. So I had Nitty 2-1 edge, which was my prediction going in. And this battle pretty much lived up to everything I wanted it to be. These are my two favorite battle rappers of all time, and I just wanted to see their very contrasting styles be matched up at the highest level. They both gave damn near their highest level of performance. So for me, the co-main event, extremely happy, and I won't say like a step in the right direction, but for this card to go from kind of to being very good and ending strong, it needed this co-main event to be like this. And here we are at, as I've been calling it, the main event of main events. Hitman versus Murder Mook goes down, and I might even, some of you guys might have only came here to hear the opinion on this first, so I know it's a longer recap. I'll probably put timestamps in case you want to skip right to this, but Hitman and Mook rap, and this battle was the dramatic, epic feel that it should have. Regardless, talk about result, how you feel about performances real quick, the feel around the battle was some final boss shit, and that's exactly what this battle is. So Hitman raps first in the first. The start, I'd say the first third of Hitman's first is not very good. So it started, honestly, on a wrong note. For the fact you're leading off the battle, I think one of the most important things in a battle like this, where, of course, keeping the crowd was always going to be one of the biggest parts, is starting off well. Now, by the end of Hitman's first, I really like his first round. I thought he ended good. He started angling much better. His rapping ability got there, but I thought he started with a couple dry spots, right? Then when he gets into it, the whole, you could be the GOAT, Mook. I'm just going to be the guy that owns the land that you run around on. I thought that was an extremely clever flip on the whole GOAT status title. I thought he was angling Mook for what he's done in battle rap compared to him. Verb called you not one of us, and here we are still building the culture and putting money into it while you're not. Like, he took some good approaches and landed them well, where I was like, he really 180'd the round, and I thought it ended as a strong Hitman first. It is a dope round. And then Mook raps. It is like, as textbook, like when people say God tier shit, they're talking about Mook's first. He really was rapping, and I tweeted this, in like 5-word increments because the crowd would not let him speak. They were reacting so over the top. The cassette scheme that Mook led with, crazy. And I thought that went right into what I had in my keys to victory, where I'm like, if Mook is going to win, one of the things he has to do is show that immediate difference in writing ability. Yes, it's going to be a war of angles, but if you can do it while writing more creative, the crowd is going to gravitate towards that, especially Houston, which is more of a puncher, wordplay friendly crowd. Like, they're going to go for a lot of that. And I thought that's exactly what Mook did in the first. Yes, he angles down Hitman as well. But even the smack before, why are you crying? Smack before you holla. I might have butchered that, but if you know the bar I'm talking about, he won the Haymaker War. Like, Mook had the 3 or 4 bars that stand out the most while having the better in-between writing. And something that also was in my keys to victory for Mook, I had put performance and crowd control. And I had said Mook can't match Hitman in performance, but he has to, like, do something so it doesn't look like Hitman's just outmatching him in it, right? Like, he has to fight back in a sense. Mook outperformed Hitman. Like, Mook outperformed Hitman really throughout the battle, but especially in the first. I mean, he hit him with his own remix, even the flows he was getting into, just his everything, his energy. Mook was 10 out of 10 in the first round of this battle. So he faces a very good, don't let people trick you, Hitman's first was very good. People are going to OD like it wasn't. but Mook's first is just better in every facet. So Mook was up 1-0 clear. Even though it's a great start to the battle, it's all Mook in the first round. You get to the second round of the battle, they both take a step back. Now, it doesn't mean that they were bad rounds, but I think Hitman took a step back from his first. I think Mook still has a good second, but it's much more hit or miss than some people may want you to believe. Like, there was genuine parts of Mook's second where I thought he was hitting like every other bar, or there was dry spots here and there, kind of like Hitman's first. But I thought Hitman in his second gets into the things that people don't like about him very much, right? The things he's critiqued about is money talk, very like bland, kind of general like braggadocious talk, but not attacking the opponent as much. Of course, there's segments, there's so many bars in this battle, I can't quote like every approach, every bar they had. It's not like he was completely indirect, but that was the worst time for Hitman to get in that bag, because his third is very tailored, which we're going to talk about. His first is tailored, and his second is the material that if I had known Hitman was going to use that at any part of the battle, that's the part that he would have lost. And the second was winnable. Like, I don't think Mook's second was unbeatable or super elite like his first. It has its spots, but it's more about, I think, what Hitman didn't do than what about Mook did do. So the second, it's closer, but I still clearly had Mook in the second round of this battle. And once again, showing the difference in writing ability, which I thought would be the most key. And he did that in the first two rounds of this battle, on top of performing at an elite level. So I had it Mook 2-0 going into the third. And the third is where it gets a little bit controversial. Granted, my winner is decided by the time we get here one way or another. But Hitman's third is extremely dark subject matter and very personal. He's talking about cases that Mook faced, or complaints that he got from neighbors and people around him during the time that Mook was drinking, not sober, had the apartment incident, and talking about topics of Mook getting kicked out of college for rape, a rape allegation, beating his daughter, reports of him beating his daughter, beating his wife, being completely disorderly. And this round, it was executed better as the round went on. I felt like at first the material was just so dark in subject matter that the crowd was a little scared to react. But I'd be lying if I told you by the end Hitman wasn't like selling it as a damaging angle versus Mook in the third. And it's hard to decide because it is kind of cringeworthy watching it live. But if the material is true, how could it not be like a monstrous like default win of the round, right? So watching it first, and especially the way that Hitman was able to sell it by the end, I had, and we're going to talk about Mook's third, but I really liked Hitman's third, but it's one of those that long term, if I find out he's exaggerating the truth or there's just not real proof of any of these claims, you'd have to give the third to Mook, because Mook's third is also fire. It's not as good as his first, but it's actually better than his second as well. And it goes to show, even though this third is a huge talking point for Hala, Mook is still like rapping his ass off on the other side. So there's going to be some people that give this battle to Mook, Gentleman's 30 or 3-0. I can't be mad at that whatsoever, but on first watch, I did give Hitman the third. I thought it was his best angling of the battle. I thought it did truly come off as damaging in the moment. And like I said, long term, if I find out it's not really the truth, if it was just really stuff made up for a battle, I am going to have Mook winning the third round of that battle. And little things like Hitman dapping up Mook after, like you called him a fucking rapist, beating his children, made fun of his rent at some point at the end there too, but then you dapped him up at the end. I'm not sure how true it can be, because then why are you dapping him up if you believe any of that to be true? But just overall, that really becomes a little bit of a minute discussion, because I did have Mook winning the first two rounds of this battle. So I had Mook 2-1 clear over Hitman Hala. You could debate 3-0, and in my opinion, Mook with the performance of the night, with similar like his Twork and his Geechee Gotti battle, absolute masterclasses of battle rapping, and Mook ends up winning the Great War and proved me wrong with, like I said, a clear victory over Hitman Hala. And that is my full review, full recap of TBL's Bulletproof event. I'm a happy customer at the end of the day. Once you got to the end of it, it ends on battle of the night and performance of the night, in my opinion. Thinking about doing a bar for bar after this for, I might do Cal and Nitty. I want to do Hitman and Mook, but I feel like a bar for bar would be kind of redundant, because bar for bar, it's pretty obvious who did better in the battle. It would be dope to break down Mook's masterclass in detail, all the things he did great, because that was still a very good Hitman holo, but people had said going in, even though I had Hitman 2-1 edge, I could see Mook winning, but I thought it would be close. There was people who very passionately said Mook is going to show a level. It's going to be a masterclass. That's exactly what it was. So I have to admit there, not that I strongly had Hitman clearly winning or anything like that, but I ended up being on the wrong side of it. Mook was everything that Mook fans said he would be in this battle, and I'm almost interested to see who Mook could battle next that could match him, because Hitman felt like a top of the top star power versus star power type of matchup. Is it going to take a bar for bar guy like the New Jersey Twork and Big K did? It was kind of two punchers that beat Mook. So who knows? Maybe like a Nitty and a Mook after those performances. I'm thinking a little far into the future, but I'm happy with the event overall by the time that it ended. Like I said, 7 out of 10 isn't like, maybe doesn't match up to the expectations of a mega card at this level, but I always thought that the undercard had some possible flaws in it. It still ended up having some pluses, like an Av versus TRex. Even though I didn't like Arsonal and Jazz at all, like the shock of that result means something. I thought the rounds that she did get out were great, but really, Nitty and Calicoe, Hitman and Mook, that stole the show. That did the heavy lifting for the event. And now, of course, I need to hear your guys' opinions in the comment section down below, man. How did you feel about Bulletproof as a whole? How are you calling the battles on the card? And I'll give my calls once again real quick. Loso clearly beating Pass 3-0. Official 2-0 versus Coffee Brown. I had Av 2-1 over T-Rex in a good battle. I had Swamp 3-0 holo in probably the weakest battle of the night. Great Swamp third, though. I had I had Arsonal 2-1 over Jazz. That was unexpected. Nitty 2-1 edge versus Cal. And then, of course, Mook 2-1 clear over Hitman holo. So do you have the same calls? Do you feel differently? And who do you want to see any of these battlers battle next? Who were your winners of the night, your losers of the night? Any of those opinions, please let me know in the comments section down below, man. Also, there was a ton of announcements last night, but TBL announced Eazy the block captain versus New Jersey Twork for their event in October. That's really got to be a whole video of its own. I'll end up doing like a 45-minute recap here, but that was crazy. So a good night for TBL overall, and looks like they have more to give Battle Rap in 2025 before the year is out. But it's been J Smo Reviews again here, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'm going to catch you on the next one, man. Peace.